Welcome to the Media Pros Show, the show that gives you quick, simple tips to grow your business by serving as an expert in the media. Learn how to get all the TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, podcast, and online interviews and media appearances that you want, and learn how to be great in those media appearances. I'm Dr. David Geyer, orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, and media medical expert. Just last week, I got back from a quick trip to Florida. We were gone about 3.5 days or so, and it was completely going to be a fun vacation, not work-related at all. And we drove down there, and we stopped for food maybe 3 hours in, about halfway. And I was checking my email, waiting for the food to come. And of course, I get an email from a TV show host that I've done tons of interviews with over the years. I've gotten to know her really well up in Pennsylvania, asking if I could do a quick Zoom interview either that day or the next day on some breaking news topic. It was about a new weight loss drug, and she wanted to do a story on that. And of course, she's been great to me. I always want to help, but I instantly realized I was in trouble. I knew very quickly that I may not have what I needed to do a great interview. But I said, hey, I will do it. I can't do it today. I'm driving, but what about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning? And we set it up. And I'll tell you at the end of this episode what I didn't have and how I made the best of it, but it really was less than ideal, certainly not as professional as I'd like to come across. So I'll tell you what I didn't have and how I made the best of it. But in this episode, I want to prevent that for you. Anytime you're going to be traveling, if you need to do an interview, there's going to be 6 or 7 things that you should always have with you. These are things that you can get and just put in your travel bag, and they're always there. That way you don't have to remember them each time. They don't take up a lot of space, but they'll make your interview much, much better. First, and I've talked about this in other episodes of this show, but you need an external webcam. Let's face it, the video quality on your computer's built-in webcam is terrible. At best, it's 720p resolution, but even worse, you can't zoom in, you can't zoom out, you have no control. It just doesn't look really good. So get an external webcam that connects to your computer through a USB connection. Along the same lines, you need an external microphone and headphones we'll talk about in a second, but you need an external microphone because like the poor video quality from your built-in webcam, the built-in microphone in your computer, the audio quality of that is terrible too. I've said before, when you use your built-in computer's microphone, it sounds like you're talking into a tin can. So try to get an external mic that connects to your computer through a USB connection. Now, it doesn't have to be one of these fancy studio microphones or, this boom mic like I have in my TV studio here. It can be something really small as long as it connects through USB, but something small enough that fits in your travel case. I have a Logitech Brio webcam. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. I'm not saying that as an endorsement. I don't get paid for by them, but it's a terrific webcam. The video signal's great. It's high def resolution, I think 4K, but it also has a mic in it that actually sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound as great as maybe a professional USB mic or my boom mic, but again, it's one thing that has both of those taken care of, and that's fairly small, so it easily fits in my small travel tech case where I carry my chargers and things like that. Also, you want to consider having headphones so that you don't create a delay or an echo. When the host is talking and you're using the computer's built-in speakers, that question comes through your speakers, but then that sound is usually picked up by your mic, and so you get this sort of reverberation or this double sound, this echo. You don't always, but sometimes you do, and that's something that just doesn't sound really great. So you may throw some headphones or AirPods or something that you can use to prevent that from happening. With the external webcam, with the external microphone, you want to make sure that you have, if you need them, adapters. That was something that I usually remember, but I forgot. A lot of computers, like my MacBook Pro, only have USB-C inputs, but a lot of these peripheral devices, webcams and microphones and things, have USB connectors, and so that doesn't work. So make sure that you have the necessary adapters. Another challenge, especially in hotel room, is the lighting. So you want to have external lights. A lot of times with the hotel rooms, you have a desk lamp that's really weak, doesn't put out a lot of light, but then the window, even if you close the curtains, will be behind you, making you look really dark, or the lights on the back wall make you look really dark. It can be really challenging to light yourself well in a hotel room. So get an external light. They make them now that are inexpensive and small, and they attach to your computer and will shine bright light on you so that you don't appear dark. And I can't recommend that enough. Very, very simple. Otherwise, in a hotel room, almost always you're going to look too dark. With respect to hotels, the fifth thing I'm going to mention is the internet. Wi-Fi in a hotel is absolutely awful. A lot of times it's free, the complimentary internet that comes with your room, but you're competing with an entire hotel's worth of guests for it. So that signal is slow and it drops a lot. Really, really not ideal. Look when you sign up for the internet to see if there's a premium option. It's not best case scenario, but it's still better than the complimentary internet because it's faster, and the video signal quality being uploaded and downloaded is going to be a lot better. It's certainly better than the complimentary internet. Even better, if it's an option, connect from the hotel's internet through to your computer through an Ethernet cable. That's not often possible. I haven't seen that too recently, but if that is an option, definitely do that. But at least look for the premium internet. And then the last thing, have something reasonably professional to wear. You know, as a physician, I'm able to put just one of these scrub tops. It's got my logo. I just throw it in my travel bag and it's always there. It doesn't take up much space. I don't even have the scrub pants with me. It's just the scrub top because that's all you see in a remote interview. If you're not a doctor, that's okay. You don't have to have a suit, just anything that's reasonably professional, that looks like you are an expert, that actually could be credible talking about whatever it is. Could just be a button-down shirt or something like that, but it doesn't have to take up a lot of space, but not something ridiculous that you're wearing because you're on a fun trip. So those are things that I think are essential. My Florida trip, I had almost none of that. I did have my laptop with me, so I knew I could do the Zoom interview, but I found out when I went to set up for that interview, my Logitech Brio, which I actually did have with me in my charger case, my tech case, I didn't have a USB-A to USB-C adapter, so I couldn't use it. There goes my external webcam and my external mic. So now I'm using the internal microphone on my computer. But I also didn't have headphones for whatever reason, so I didn't have any way to sort of eliminate that echo. Now, fortunately, in that interview, the way we did it Zoom, I didn't have that echo, but it still would have been ideal to have headphones. I also didn't have anything professional to wear. This was going to be a fun trip. I didn't have my scrub shirt, which I've now put in my travel bag. I did it in a navy blue Nike t-shirt that had the Nike swoosh. You can see it in the interview because everything else I had were like sports teams shirts that would have looked even less credible, which for a doctor talking about a weight loss drug, less than ideal. And I didn't have external lights. I struggled with this. I tried the desktop lamp, but it wasn't bright enough. And especially with the window behind me, even with the curtain closed, I looked really dark. And the bright lights on the back wall, between the two beds, were shining forward. So I got the glare from that. So that wasn't going to work. I ended up doing the interview basically facing the back wall right up against the nightstand. So those two back wall lights between the two beds at least were shining somewhat on me, but I had to position my body in a way and position the computer in a way to block their reflection in the TV behind me. I mean, it ended up working. The host, Amy, thought it was funny because we've done lots of these. We do interviews through my home TV studio, what you're seeing here if you're watching the video version of this show on YouTube. But she thought it was funny. It ended up turning out okay, but it's less than ideal. Certainly not as professional as I'd want to be. So those are the things you should always have with you to do an interview on a moment's notice wherever you are. External webcam, external microphone, headphones, adapters if you need them, external lights. Check the internet when you get to your hotel and get the best you possibly can, and at least something reasonably professional to wear. One of the things I do with the clients I work with one-on-one is that you and I figure out what types of interviews you want to do, what media you want to do. And then we figure out what type of equipment you need, whether it's at a basic level or a professional level like this, depending on how many interviews you're going to be doing and what media outlets and what level, all of that kind of stuff. Then once you get all that equipment, I show you how to use it so that you can look and sound and be great in that next interview. Remember, on this show, on my coaching or in my coaching, on my website, everywhere, I'm not giving you specific advice. This isn't specific business, legal, financial, medical, or any other kind of advice. If you have specific concerns about your business, please talk to a specialist in that area. But if you want to try to get more TV, radio, podcast, newspaper, magazine, online interviews, and you want to try to use those to become the go-to expert in your industry and in your town, I can help you become a media pro. Go to MediaProsCoaching.com, sign up for a free 30-minute strategy session where we'll talk about your business and your practice and what you're trying to achieve and how the media could help you. And then we'll identify just a few simple strategies you can implement right away to get more customers, clients, and patients. And while you're there, get your free copy of the Media Pros Interview Checklist. Simple, it's like 5-6 pages, maybe 20, 30 tips, whatever the media, TV, radio, it doesn't matter. Simple tips that you can remember to do in your next interview to help you be great in that interview so that you get asked back over and over and over. Back in 2013, I went to a conference held by Darren Hardy. You may know him as the former publisher of Success Magazine. He's fantastic. Now he's a business mentor and leader. Terrific advice. He's fantastic. And I went to a conference on that he was having, and I do remember one of the things he said, because I was just then really ramping up my media efforts and all this other stuff I do on my website and social media. And I remember he had a formula for how to get really, really good at anything. And I know you're busy, and as you're trying to do the media on top of your job and all the other things, this is something that you should always, always remember. Darren Hardy says, do fewer things more often and get better at them.